So since I'm driving, I was trying to think of a good topic that I could do a video on today. And the one thing that keeps ringing through my mind is gratitude. I have been working a whole lot on positive self-image and spreading the love and the joy. And, I know you're thinking rainbows and unicorns. Maybe. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with those two things. So they make a lot of people happy, including me. So I will just say, have you ever met a person who is stuck in playing the victim? There's a big difference between being a victim and playing a victim. There are victims out there. There are people who are, victims of horrible things, crimes, sexual assault, all kinds of bad stuff, verbal abuse, physical abuse, domestic violence. There's lots of things that people are victims of. But I'm talking about that person who, no matter what is going on in their life, nothing is ever their fault. I bring that up because that used to be me. I was always thinking that anything that happened to me, I could never take responsibility for it. I was always convinced that drama followed me everywhere, and I had, I had no control over any of it, and it all just happened to me because I had, bad luck. But the truth is that I make my own reality. And today, the difference is that I surround myself with people who are primarily drama-free. And by that, I don't mean, I have friends that have, kids that are going through crazy stuff, and, I have friends that are going through crazy stuff, and life things happen. I don't mean that kind of drama. I mean, how do I put that into kind words? People who blow everything up as far as like emotionally. Everything is just a huge deal, and there's always a problem. There's always something that needs to be resolved, and they don't ever seem to want to do anything about it themselves. They just want to complain. So I try to stay away from people like that. And if I do come across someone like that, or if I have a very close friend who's like that, I try to help them. I mean, maybe that's what we need, is to help each other. And look, there are some people who it doesn't matter what you say to them. You could say it 1,000,000 times for years and years and years, and it may never change. That's not on you, I've had a couple people in my life like that, and I felt like, I didn't feel like it was my duty or obligation. Sorry, I'm going through a tunnel. But I did feel like I just felt comfortable with and wanted to try to help them. And what I learned from that lesson is that if someone is not ready to help themselves, then nothing I do will help them. So maybe in the long run, if they decide one day that they want to do something different, they may, something I said may have been a benefit to them. But I can't save people, and I can share my experience with people, and that's pretty much all I have to offer. So what I can do is offer the experience of making a gratitude list. And it sounds cliche, it seems so simple, blah, 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 and it is. But it really does work. And also, if I hear someone who is continuously, I'm not going to just do this with a stranger, most likely, because it's, I feel like it is important to kind of have a friendship, a foundation of a friendship before I say things like this to people, because I don't know, if I don't know you, then I really don't probably have a right to be saying things like, is it possible that situation was really like this way and you just thought it was this? That's not something that you can just say to anyone. It really is probably something that I think is more important with my friends. So I try to, and I would want them, and I have friends that do that to me too, and I'm like, I guess, because a lot of times, I can totally be playing the victim, and I used to do it a lot. That used to be like my whole life, and then as I have gotten clean and worked a program of recovery and trying to practice spiritual principles in my life, I really try to be more aware of those types of behaviors and avoid acting that way, and taking a look at my part in any situation, especially where I have negative feelings involved. If I feel like I've been wronged, or if something happened that just, upset me or whatever, I typically try to, one, put myself in the other person's shoes, which can be really, really, really hard. And two, I take a look at how I contributed to that situation, which can also be really, really hard. Depending on your level of stubbornness, which mine was pretty damn high, and still can be. My husband will say, still? But, depending on your level of stubbornness, it's definitely one of those things that I feel like it can be really difficult to admit my part in things. But my counselor that I'm seeing has asked me to try to make a list of 3 things at the end of every day that I was grateful for that day. And it seems so simple, but once you get into the habit of verbally being grateful, or consciously being grateful, or if that makes sense, you don't have to say it out loud necessarily, but I feel like I have it. Like, she showed me this app that I'm using. It's called 365 Gratitude. It does cost money, so I don't know that I would recommend it. But it's just like it checks in with you every day. It's a kind of like a little mini journal. It just asks you like a couple questions and what were 3 things that you were grateful for that happened today. So simple. End of my day, right before I go to bed, type it in there, save it. It's kind of like a, electronic journal. And then I'm ending my day every day with gratitude, and I'm going to bed grateful. So I've noticed when I do that, I feel a lot better the next morning, and the next day seems to be much more enjoyable. And my perspective is different, and it's much more positive. So I just wanted to share that little piece of information with anyone who may need to hear it. Sometimes if we practice gratitude on a daily basis, then we can fully enjoy the life that surrounds us and the people that surround us that are there for us on a daily basis, who sometimes we take advantage of or take for granted. So today I'm going to be consciously grateful, and I hope that you guys share the love, and have a wonderful day. Bye.